Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about patch 10.1.7 Fury Incarnate, which has just hit the PTR, and we finally have a first look at some of the features of this patch. And in this video we're going to go over the 6 major features of patch 10.1.7. But before we jump into that, guys, I just want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, Dragonflight PTR, and more, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. Right, so yes, patch 10.1.7 is here on the PTR, literally days after 10.1.5 launched on the live servers. Absolutely crazy patch cadence right now. And as mentioned, we finally have our first look at some of the features of this patch. Now, it's not quite as stacked as 10.1.5, but there is some really cool stuff in here. 10.1.7 being a prelude to patch 10.2, which will be coming out towards the end of the year. So let's talk about what this patch contains. So the first feature and kind of the biggest feature of this patch is going to be a new world event called Dreamsurges. Now, Dreamsurges seemed like a really interesting event, and we got kind of our first iteration and our first look at this on the PTR. So the way that this works is that each week, one of the zones in the Dragon Isles will be taken over by a Dreamsurge. This is one of the 4 Dragon Isle zones, so Thaldraszus, Waking Shore, Anaran Plains, and Azure Span. On the PTR right now, Thaldraszus is being tested, so that's where all this footage comes from. Now, every 30 minutes, a major Waking Portal will spawn. This is a small group event and can drop raid level gear from the boss at the end. It's just like a normal sort of event, like a mini scenario, fill the bar, kill the boss, all that kind of stuff. And that will happen every 30 minutes. The kind of purpose of this event is just like a lot of catch-up gear and things like that. At least it seems like it. On top of that, there'll also be minor Waking Portals, which will be scattered across the zone for solo and small groups. And there'll also be a zone-wide buff, which can actually be voted on. This is actually really cool. I like this a lot. So in the zone that the Dreamsurge is occurring, players can vote between 2 buffs which will affect the entire zone. These are voted on with a new currency called Dreamsurge Coalescence. These could drop from rares, they could drop from the Waking Portal events, they can drop from world quests. They basically come from anything in the zone while the Dreamsurge is happening. So basically you go over to this NPC and you can vote on which buff you'd like between the 2. These buffs can range from pretty crazy to pretty normal, but yeah, it seems like a really interesting feature, but we haven't seen it fully implemented on the PTR as of yet. During the Dreamsurge, as I said, it does take over an entire zone. So in this zone, all the rares in the zone will now have new loot, which is the new catch-up gear. As of right now on the PTR, is item level 415, but yeah, again, PTR be PTRing, that's not obviously set in stone, that just seems to be what is dropping right now. So all the rares in, like, for example, Thaldraszus will have new loot and new mechanics, actually, which is really interesting. Also, what will happen is that all of the world quests, apart from the major ones, will actually move to this zone as well. So on the PTR right now, Thaldraszus is absolutely stacked with world quests, but then you look at a zone like the Waking Shore, for example, that'll only have 1 or 2 world quests, which are the major ones of that zone. It's going to be like a zone-wide takeover when this event happens in this zone, which is really interesting. And also the final thing that happens in the zone that the Dreamsurge is occurring in is that there'll be a 25% increased experience buff in that zone as well. So if you're leveling characters during a Dreamsurge, you want to go to the zone that the Dreamsurge is active in, because you will get that extra 25% experience, which is really nice. So Dreamsurges seem interesting. As mentioned, very, very early on the PTR. We'll obviously do a full video going over the whole feature once it's kind of a bit more fleshed out and completed, but it seems like a really interesting thing and a nice thing for a bit of catch-up gear, and I would imagine it's going to be quite good for leveling as well. The next feature in 10.1.7 is Undead and Night Elf Heritage Armor, and of course, Questlines. Now, these are not testable on the PTR right now. We can have a look at the Undead Heritage Armor in-game. This was added and previewed with the official preview of the patch, but the Night Elf one right now is kind of unfinished. Wowhead did data mine half of it, which looks okay. It looks pretty good. As of right now, we don't know really anything about the Questlines, which is kind of fun. I don't know if they'll be publicly tested on the PTR or they'll just be kind of coming out when the patch comes out. But yeah, Undead and Night Elves will be getting Heritage Armor and Heritage Armor Questlines in 10.1.7, which is great. Also coming in 10.1.7 is Dawn of the Infinites will be going Heroic. So right now it is a Mythic 0 dungeon, and in 10.1.7 it will be Heroic. Now, presumably this will drop 389 Adventurer gear upgradable to 411. However, we don't know that for sure. It might be a little bit higher because it is a little harder than your average dungeon, but we will have to see with that, specifically with the loot. This will be split into 2 dungeons. So the first one will be Dawn of the Infinites Galakron's Fall. This will feature the first 4 bosses. So Chronica, Manifesting Timeways, Blight of Galakron, and the last boss of this wing will be Iridikron. The second half will be Dawn of the Infinites Morazan's Rise. This will be Tyr the Infinite Keeper, the Time Lost Battlefield, Morchi, and of course Chrono Lord Deos. Right now we don't know, as mentioned, the loot. We don't know if it's going to drop quantum items or quantum mounts or things like that. We don't know anything about it. It isn't currently testable on the PTR, but as soon as it is, obviously we will find out more information about that. So Dawn of the Infinite's going heroic in 10.17. Another major feature coming in 10.17 is new customizations for 3 of the races. There might be more, but this is just from the first build of the PTR. So firstly, the Undead race will be receiving 5 brand new skin colors. So yeah, just even more skin colors to their repertoire. That's going to be really great, and obviously coinciding with the brand new heritage armor. Also, the Night Elves are getting new face and body tattoos. Now, these are not currently available on the PTR, but Wowhead, of course, did put them together, and they look pretty great, but obviously we'll see them once they're all kind of fully implemented into the game in a future PTR build. But yes, new face and body tattoos are coming for the Night Elf race to coincide once again with the heritage armor. And finally, for customization, Draenei are getting some love in 10.17, and they're getting a lot of love because they're finally getting some Minari-inspired customizations. So firstly, they're getting 3 new skin colors. They're getting like a really dark blue, they're getting a kind of maroon skin color, and a red skin color. They're also getting some brand new hair colors as well, which all look really, really good, and some eye colors to go along with that new hair and skin. So some really interesting customizations for the Draenei. I see it all over Twitter. People are very, very excited for this. Not currently testable on the PTR, but of course it will be in a future build, and this appears to be unlocked through a new questline, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Also coming in 10.17 is a holiday refresh. Now, we don't know a ton about this, but we do know that there are some new things coming for different events. Now, I don't think these are going to be tested on the PTR specifically. I think we'll just have to wait for the event to come and see what's kind of happening there. But as mentioned, we do know some of the new things coming. So for Brewfest, we're actually going to get some new armor for the renewed Proto Drake, which is Brewfest themed. I love that. I think that looks really good. For Hallow's End, we have some new customizations for the Windborn Velocidrake, some Hallow's End body armor, which looks cool. There's also a new offhand weapon, which was data mined quite a while ago, and a temporary new broom model, which is going to look really great. So the broom is getting an update in 10.17, it seems. Also, Day of the Dead is getting an update with the Cliffside Wilderdrake getting some Day of the Dead themed armor as well, which I really, really like. And also Pirates Day will have a new customization for the Highland Drake, a pirate themed armor for that awesome looking mount. So yeah, that's very cool. And finally, Winter Veil looks like it's getting some love as well with a candy cane themed sword. So yeah, some kind of data mined interesting things to do with different holidays. But again, we probably won't know the full details unless Blizzard put out a post, or we just kind of wait for the event to happen once the patch launches. And finally, in 10.17, we are getting some brand new story quests. Now, as mentioned, 10.17 will be a prelude to patch 10.2, so we're going to get some story beats, which will lead us into that major content patch, which is coming out towards the end of the year. So listed on the website is a story called Reforging Tyr, so it looks like we are going to continue that Tyr story, which was started originally in 10.0. Also, as well, there is going to be a new quest for the Draenei. This is correlated with the Minari customizations, and I believe that everyone will be able to do this questline. I don't think it's a Draenei only questline. On the website, it says that we're going to follow Velen's prophecy to reveal a new future for some of the Draenei people. So yeah, a little bit of a tease there, not currently available on the PTR right now. But yeah, some interesting story beats are coming in 10.17. Hopefully they're not testable publicly. I would love to see them be revealed on patch day, but we'll have to see what happens with that. So yeah, there you go, guys. There are 6 major features coming in 10.17. There is a bunch of minor features coming as well. And of course, when we get closer to patch day, I'll be doing a whole video called Everything Coming in 10.17, of course. And we'll be going through all of the features of the patch. But yeah, today, we looked at the major features. Seems like a pretty interesting patch, not as stacked as 10.15, of course, but this is going to be a very interesting prelude, and no doubt we'll have some really interesting minor features as well. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down below what you think of 10.17 Fury Incarnate. This patch will be out probably within the next 8 weeks or so, and I'll be streaming it over on Twitch, of course. So guys, if you like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I also have a Patreon, and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I have a Discord channel as well. And as mentioned, I am on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream Dragonflight PTR, 10.17 PTR, we've been looking at this patch. Obviously, it's the first build, but yeah, we're going to keep looking at this patch, seeing at the new stuff, checking it all out. So if you're interested in watching that, guys, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.